plan. There will be days when your efforts go unnoticed, when your kindness isn't acknowledged. When you show up, plan, give your all, and still feel invisible. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to stop, to shrink, to question your worth, plan. But let me tell you something from the depth of lived experience. Applause is not the purpose. Recognition is not the reward, plan. You did not start this journey for noise. You started because something within you said, I was made for more. You see, plan, the most meaningful victories in life happen far away from stages and spotlights, plan. They happen when no one is watching. When you choose to rise from your bed despite a heavy heart, plan. When you speak kindly to yourself on days your mind is at war with your soul, plan. When you keep building your dream brick by quiet brick, that's where strength is born. That's where greatness begins, plan. People may not always understand the weight you carry. They may not see the silent battles you fight, plan. But that doesn't mean your journey doesn't matter. That doesn't mean you're not making progress, plan. Some roads are walked alone so that you can find out how deeply rooted your courage really is. And believe me, it's there, plan, unshaken, unseen, but real. So keep going, even when they don't notice, even when they forget your name, plan. Because this journey, it's not about applause. It's about alignment, plan. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need noise to feel worthy, plan. The kind of soul who claps for themselves when no one else does. And that, right there, plan, is the most powerful kind of progress. We live in a world obsessed with performance, with applause, with validation from the outside, plan. And somewhere along the way, we began to believe that if no one sees our effort, it must not count, plan. But that's not where true strength lives, plan. Real strength is forged in silence, in the moments when you wake up and choose to keep going, even though no one will notice, plan. When you dry your own tears, whisper encouragement to yourself, plan. And still take a step forward. That's strength the world may never celebrate, but it's the kind that changes your life, plan. When you're in the spotlight, people see your smile, your success, your victories, but they rarely see the pain, the struggle, plan, or the nights you wrestled with doubt and fear, plan. The spotlight never shows the behind, the scenes moments of courage, the ones where you showed up with a trembling heart and gave your best anyway, plan. Those moments, though invisible to others, are the ones that truly shape you. They're not loud, they're not glamorous, plan, but they are sacred and they matter. Silence is not a weakness, it's a classroom. It teaches you to listen to your own voice, plan, to stand firm in your purpose, to grow in the absence of praise, plan. When no one claps for you and you keep going, that's when you realize the applause you needed was your own, plan. That's when you begin to trust the quiet strength that's been living inside you all along, plan. The kind of strength that doesn't need an audience. It just needs truth, commitment, and heart. Sometimes, plan. The most powerful people are not the ones on the stage, but the ones behind the curtain, plan, holding themselves together with invisible threads of courage. They rise not for glory, plan, but because they've made peace with the silence. They understand that growth isn't about being seen. It's about becoming, plan. Becoming someone who doesn't rely on applause to keep moving. Becoming someone who knows that even in silence, plan. Their journey is sacred and their strength is real. From the moment we are born, plan. We're conditioned to seek approval. Gold stars in school, likes on social media, plan. Compliments for doing things right. And slowly, without noticing, we start relying on external validation to feel worthy, plan. We start measuring our dreams, our actions, and even our healing based on whether someone else approves, plan. But when applause fades, and it will, you're left with one question: why am I doing this? And if the answer isn't purpose, plan, then the silence that follows will feel empty and defeating. Validation is fleeting. It shifts with trends, plan. With people's opinions, with moods you have no control over. But purpose, that's internal. It's your quiet reason to rise, plan. It doesn't need to be grand. It can be as simple as healing, helping, creating, surviving, or growing, plan. Purpose whispers to you in the dark when the world has gone quiet. It's what keeps your feet moving when no one else is watching, plan. It's what fuels you when the likes stop coming, when the applause dies down, plan. And when no one remembers to say, well done. You see, people might not always understand your path, plan. They might not cheer you on. They might even question your journey, your timeline, or your choices, plan. But if you are rooted in purpose, their silence won't shake you, plan. You don't need their validation to keep going. You need your why. That reason planted deep in your heart, plan, becomes the anchor in your storms and the fire in your slow mornings. It becomes your compass when life gets confusing, plan, and your strength when you feel like quitting. Living for validation is like running on sugar, quick bursts, followed by crashes, plan. Living for purpose is like feeding your soul with something lasting, plan. It's the difference between chasing applause and building legacy. Purpose doesn't shout, it doesn't flash, but it stays, plan. And when you begin to live aligned with that deeper truth, your steps become lighter, your voice steadier, plan, and your resilience unshakable. Because now, you're not performing, you're becoming, plan. We live in a world that praises visibility. If people see you, they think you're doing well. If they don't, plan, they assume you're lost or failing. But real growth, real transformation, often happens in silence, in private, plan, in rooms where there's no spotlight, no audience, no applause, plan. It happens in early mornings when you force yourself to get up despite the age. It happens in quiet decisions to keep going, plan, to stay kind, to forgive, to try again. And these unseen battles shape you more than any external praise ever could. The truth is, plan, you don't need to be seen to be valuable. Flowers still bloom in forests where no one walks, plan. Stars still shine in skies where no one looks up. And you, yes, you can still be important, worthy, and powerful, plan. Even when no one acknowledges your effort. Just because your journey isn't trending doesn't mean it's not transforming you, plan. Just because your healing isn't visible doesn't mean it's not happening, plan. You are growing in ways no eye can measure and no mirror can reflect, plan. Sometimes the quietest people are fighting the loudest battles. Sometimes the strongest hearts are the ones that don't post, plan. Don't speak, don't boast. They just show up every day and carry their truth quietly. And that's strength too. Plan. It's easy to feel discouraged when your effort isn't validated. But remember, plan. You are not living to be seen. You are living to be whole. You are not here to impress. You are here to become. Plan, and becoming takes time, stillness, and a lot of invisible courage. So stop looking for your worth in the reflections of others. Plan. Stop thinking you matter only when someone claps. Your value is not up for a vote. It is not given by followers, by views. Plan. Or by attention. You mattered the moment you took your first breath. And you still do, even on the days when no one notices. Plan. Especially on those days. Because when no one is watching and you still choose to rise, to speak gently, plan, to live honestly, that is when your true power reveals itself. Plan. We often think motivation is about grand gestures. That to change our life, we must take massive steps, make huge announcements, plan, or achieve something that others can applaud. But real change, it happens in the quiet repetition of small decisions. Plan. It's brushing your teeth when your mind is exhausted. It's getting out of bed when your spirit feels heavy. Plan. It's showing up for your work, your dreams, your healing, even when no one notices. Consistency is not glamorous. Plan. But it is transformational. Every time you show up, tired, uncertain, plan, unheard. You are building a foundation that no storm can shake. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be loud, plan. You need to be present. That's what consistency truly is, presence in motion. It's not about being the best, plan. It's about being willing. Willing to take one more step, to write one more line, to keep your promise to yourself, plan. Even when life throws distractions, setbacks, and silence at you. That kind of quiet strength is what builds unshakable character. Plan. Applause is temporary, it fades, but the discipline you build in solitude, that stays. You might not realize it today, plan. But the small, consistent actions you are taking are compounding silently. Every journal entry, every early morning, plan. Every kind word, every moment of restraint, forgiveness, or effort, it all adds up, plan. You are becoming something greater with each repeated step, not because the world is clapping, plan, but because you refuse to give up on yourself in the dark. Remember, greatness isn't built in front of a crowd, plan. It's built when no one is looking, when the lights are off and the room is quiet and it's just you. Deciding to try again, plan. That moment, that is where the future changes. That's where the power lives, not in what others say, plan, but in what you choose to do. Again, and again, and again. Because consistency is a quiet kind of bravery that outlasts noise, plan, outshines praise, and outlives doubt, plan. There will be seasons in your life when the path ahead looks completely unclear, when nothing makes sense, plan, and every step feels like a guess in the dark. In those moments, fear tells you to stop. Doubt convinces you to turn back, plan. But if you pause and listen beyond the noise, you'll realize something powerful, plan. The road doesn't have to be visible for you to take the next step, plan. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is move forward anyway, even if all you see is uncertainty. You were not meant to have every answer. You were not designed to see the entire journey before you start, plan. Growth doesn't come from knowing. It comes from trusting. Trusting that if your heart still beats, plan, then your purpose still breathes. Trusting that every step you take, no matter how hesitant, plan, is shaping something you can't see yet. You're not lost, you're being led. And often, plan. The invisible road leads to the most meaningful destinations. Plan. Think about it. How many breakthroughs happened after moments of chaos? How many times did clarity come not before? Plan. But after you acted in faith. The world may teach us to move only when the light is green, but life is not a traffic signal. Plan. Sometimes you must create your own green light by walking with trembling feet. You may not know where the road ends, plan, but you do know where your heart stands. And if your heart still whispers, keep going, then that whisper is enough, plan. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, even when each day feels like a repeat of the last, your forward motion is rewriting your story, plan. Progress doesn't always look like leaps. Sometimes it looks like survival, like holding on, like walking through the fog, plan. Believing that eventually the sun will rise again, because it will. But you'll never see the sun rise if you stop in the night, plan. Keep walking, not because it's easy, not because it's clear, but because deep down, plan. You know, you were never meant to stay where you started. Not every victory comes with applause, plan. Not every act of bravery is seen or acknowledged. And yet you continue. You rise without noise. You endure without recognition, plan. You smile while your heart is still healing. That quiet strength, the one you carry inside you, is something worth celebrating, plan. Not because the world saw it, but because you lived it. In the silence of your struggles, you became your own anchor, plan. That's a kind of power no stage or spotlight can ever define. Sometimes, plan. Strength looks like choosing kindness when anger would be easier, plan. It's holding back tears in a crowded room just to protect your peace, plan. It's forgiving when you haven't even received an apology. These moments may seem small to others, plan, but they are monumental acts of emotional courage. You don't need a round of applause to validate your worth, plan. You've been carrying invisible weights with grace, and that in itself is a testament to the resilience stitched into your soul, plan. There is dignity in persistence. In choosing to wake up each morning, despite the heaviness that life sometimes brings, plan. In showing up for people who may never understand your pain. In continuing to dream even after disappointment, plan. You don't have to roar to be powerful. You don't need to prove anything. The truth is, plan. Your strength doesn't need an audience. It just needs to be honored by you. Quiet doesn't mean weak, plan. Quiet often means deeply rooted, deeply alive. And so when the world overlooks you, don't overlook yourself, plan. Celebrate the days you made it through, even if you had to crawl. Celebrate the nights you kept breathing through the ache, plan. Celebrate the way you never gave up, even when giving up seemed easier, plan. Your strength is not just in how loud you fight, but in how gently you rise. So take a moment, even now, plan, and recognize that everything you've survived has shaped you. Not into someone broken, but into someone whole, plan. There is no perfect path, no universal timeline, no single definition of success, plan. Yet we often find ourselves comparing our journey to others, wondering why we're behind, why our story feels messier, slower, plan. or more uncertain. But the truth is, your journey is still valid, even if it doesn't look like anyone else's plan. The roads you've taken, the detours you never planned for, plan. The battles no one else saw, they've all shaped a story that is uniquely yours, and that alone makes it meaningful, plan. Some people graduate at 22, others start over at 40. Some find love early, others build themselves first. Some heal quickly, plan. Others take years to feel whole again, and all of it is okay. Life is not a race to be won. It's a journey to be lived, plan. You are not behind, you are not failing. You are evolving, growing, becoming, plan. And just because your pace doesn't match the world's expectations, plan, doesn't mean you're not moving forward in your own beautiful way, plan. What no one sees are the quiet victories. The moments where you chose healing over hiding, where you picked courage over comfort, plan, where you dared to dream again after being broken. These victories may not be posted online. They may not gather likes or praise, plan, but they are real and they matter, plan. Because they remind you that your journey isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about becoming more of who you truly are, plan. So if your story feels different, let it be. If it feels lonely, trust that others are walking their own silent battles too, plan. And if you've taken longer to bloom, remember this: some flowers take years before they rise from the soil. But when they do, plan, they bloom in colors the world has never seen. Don't rush your becoming. Don't apologize for your pace, plan. Your journey is yours for a reason, and even if no one else understands it, honor it anyway. Because it is still worthy, plan, still sacred, and still going. So if today you find yourself walking a road no one sees, fighting battles no one understands, plan, or rising in silence with no applause, know this: your courage is not wasted. Your effort is not invisible, plan, and your story is not small. The loudest victories are not the ones celebrated by crowds, but the ones witnessed by your own soul, plan. You don't need a stage to matter. You don't need a spotlight to shine. You just need to keep showing up for yourself, plan, for your healing, for the life you still get to build. Even when no one claps, even when no one notices, plan. Because the strength it takes to keep going in silence, that is the strength that changes everything. You are not here to perform, plan. You are here to live, to feel, to grow, to fall and rise again, plan. You're here to write a story that may not make headlines, but will one day make someone believe in themselves again, plan. Not because you had it easy, but because you kept going when it was hard. So don't stop. Don't wait for the applause, plan. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And you are not done. The world may be quiet, but your journey still speaks. Loud, brave, and beautifully real.